Back at it here. It is Monday, the 14th day of October, 2024. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You can see the smoke behind me with our Wenatchee Heights camera. That, of course, is from the school chuck fire, toned out about 2:17 yesterday afternoon. We'll have the latest on that real quickly. It's about 25 acres. It's about 30% contained. And a state incident management team is going to come in and take over the operations of that fire. That frees up our local firefighters to do other things. They've been keeping a close eye on it overnight. We'll have the latest on that when we get to the news. All in all, pretty quiet. No structures have been lost. We like that. But still a tad nerve-wracking for you folks up in the Wenatchee Heights school chuck area. We'll have that story for you real quick. It is Columbus Day. Quick heads up on that. So it's a federal holiday. We don't do Columbus Day here in the traditional sense. Basically, most banks are closed and anything federal is closed, mail delivery, things like that. Some credit unions will be open, some government offices are open. Call before you go. It's kind of a hit and miss kind of holiday. And happy Canadian Thanksgiving to our friends up north. Lots to get to today. Busy show, big change in the weather. It's going to be beautiful today, just like it was over the weekend. Most of Tuesday, big change Tuesday night. We're going to cool down a bunch. We're going to get some rain, some much needed rain. Very active weather starts Tuesday night and really lasts all the way through the weekend. Big temperature change, and we're talking about snow in the upper elevations. So it took a while, but autumn is finally coming. We'll have that. We'll have sports. We'll have we got a lot to get to. And in the back half of the program, the Grace Lutheran Church here in Wenatchee on Washington Street is having a very special weekend, something they've never done before. They're going to talk about the teachings and the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. You're just going to have to Google him. It's just too much to talk about in a nutshell, in a capsule. But it's something that you might be very much interested in. We had a chance to talk to Pastor James and one of his parishioners, John McQuaig, at the church. This is something I think you might be very interested in. I am. It's this weekend. It's about Dietrich Bonhoeffer, his teachings and his philosophies, well, his teachings and philosophies in Nazi Germany cost him his life. That's the short version of it. The longer version will air in the back half of the program. Let's start our tour. We got a lot to get to. And yes, it's smoky out from the school chuck fire. You can see the flames if you get up and you look down towards the Wenatchee Heights school chuck area. You can see the flames right now, and that is the residual smoke from that. Again, it's not real big. That's the good news, and they hopped all over it like they usually do. They were doing some airdrops and things. We'll get the latest on that when we get to the news, but there's the smoke plainly visible from that fire. Let's head on up to Black Mountain to say hello to our friends high above Shaston. We're still a ways from sunrise, but there's still enough light out there that we can still use it. Sunrise this morning, 7:19. Sunset tonight, 6:13. That's 10 hours and 55 minutes. We went under the 11-hour mark over the weekend. Good morning to Leavenworth. You were down there. I think they still have one more weekend of Oktoberfest up there. Pretty sure. I haven't been up yet. To Billy Goat, and another stupendous view there. Gobs of just acres and acres of miles and miles. As the sun begins to creep up over the horizon there. They have an earlier sunrise, of course, than us, but they also have an earlier sunset, too. Not by much. Good morning to our friends up in that area, Omak, Okanagan, Pateros, Brewster, Bridgeport. And the Waihetas camera. That's a long way from here. It's down near Royal City, looking out over the wheat fields and whatever else we have. A little sliver there of the river. And it looks a little hazy there. That might be more clouds than smoke. I don't know if there's no way that the smoke from the school chuck fire would get all the way down there, I can tell you that much. The week ahead is looking pretty dramatic. Take a look. Here we go. It's going to be nice today. We'll be in the 70s again today. We hit 71 on Saturday and 71 yesterday. We'll be about 71 or 72 today. Most of Tuesday looks good until we get into the afternoon. Then we start clouding up. And then we're talking rain and wind on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and the cooling trend big time. Our overnight lows here in the Wenatchee Valley are going to be in the 30s on Thursday night, mid-30s as a matter of fact. It's going to get cold and rainy, and we need both of those right now because it's been bone dry for the last couple of years. We are in a drought. We're not going to change the drought on Tuesday night, Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, but at least it'll help. From the National Weather Service, here we go. Again, warm and dry and pleasant outside of the smoke today. We'll be in the 70s for the afternoon high. Big changes coming on Tuesday. Tonight, 54 for the overnight low. That's pretty mild. Tuesday, most of the day, we're fine until we get mid-afternoon, say 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then here comes this rather active trough. It's going to start bringing in some clouds, maybe some rain, and a high of about 71. And then we have a good chance of rain overnight on Tuesday night into Wednesday. Look at Wednesday. Look at the difference between the afternoon high on Tuesday and Wednesday. Only 61 in the 30s for the overnight low Wednesday night with a good chance of rain. Thursday, only 55. Our normal high is 62 with some rain mixed with sun. 36 for the overnight low Thursday night. Friday, we do it all over again. Maybe not quite as wet. About a 20% chance of rain and still very chilly. 55 for the overnight for the high, 40 for the overnight low. Chance of rain on Saturday, chance of rain on Sunday. We have a continuing chance of rain starting late Tuesday afternoon, basically about sunset, about 6 o'clock on Tuesday night, all the way through Sunday. We have a continuing chance of hit and miss rain, and I'm hoping it's more hit rain than miss rain. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have the news on this Monday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Want to stay up to date on the latest news in the area? Tired of paying for your news? Download the NCW Life app now. No subscriptions necessary. Get news, weather, sports, and more live as it happens. Available for iPhone and Android in the App Store. Local news at your fingertips. Don't miss the stories that matter to you. Stay connected. Download the NCW Life app now.
Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, located on South Wenatchee Ave, has the largest selection of spas and swim spas in town. Stay cool this summer in an artesian swim spa and use it all year long. We enjoy helping families reconnect one spa at a time. Hot tubs are proven to improve sleep and decrease arthritis pain. Our passion is water, so please bring us a water sample, and we will help you diagnose your pool or spa water for free. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, your pool and spa experts.
The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
Do you hate getting called by Medicare telemarketers? Well, this October, your phone is going to be ringing off the hook because we will be experiencing a huge Medicare change. Now, for the last 20 years, Springwater Insurance has been helping those of you on Medicare. So just say no to those telemarketers by not answering their ads. Instead, call a local agent like Springwater Insurance, who's been helping for 20 years. So give us a call at Springwater. We can meet at one of our 5 offices or give us a call.
If it wasn't for the smoke, we'd have a beautiful sunrise going on right now. It is still kind of pretty. 46 degrees, 70s today, 70s Tuesday, but the big change happens Tuesday afternoon, as we already told you, starting late Tuesday afternoon and lasting all the way through the weekend. A big drop in our temperatures and some much needed rain in the forecast. And at 9 minutes after the hour, we'll start with the latest on the Squilchuck fire. First of all, a state incident management team has been mobilized to take over the operations of that fire. It was requested by Wenatchee Valley Fire Chief Brian Brett to the state, and they approved it yesterday afternoon, so they'll be taking over here in about a half an hour or so. The fire started about 2:17 yesterday afternoon. It's burning in brush, in sage, and in timber. The level 3 and level 2 evacuation notices have remained. They are still in place as of this morning. No structures have been lost. No injuries have been reported. The fire is estimated at about 25 acres. It's about 30% contained. Squilchuck Road, by the way, is closed at Medhouse Street to all but local traffic. And again, the state incident management team will take over operations on that fire at about 8 o'clock this morning. The search for a missing Moses Lake man lost during an October 3rd fishing trip has now been changed to a recovery effort. Grant County authorities believe 54-year-old Richard Smith fell from his boat and drowned in the Potholes Reservoir about 13 miles south of Moses Lake. Efforts to find Smith in the area of the lake have failed, and as of Thursday, sheriff's deputies said the search has turned into an effort to recover Smith's body from the water. Marine patrols use sonar to search the lake bottom. So far, no signs of Smith. Deputies say there's no evidence of foul play, by the way, in Smith's disappearance. Well, as you certainly know by now, on October 1st, NCW Life officially joined forces with the Wenatchee World newspaper. Our station was acquired by WIC Communications. That's the ownership company that purchased the Wenatchee World from the Woods family back in 2018. WIC is a family-owned company headed by current CEO Francis WIC. He spoke on Friday with our own Jefferson Robbins about why it made sense for a newspaper company to get into the television business.
Most people now access a lot of their information digitally. And they may do it through a video format, they may do it from an audio format or a text-based format. And we get the majority of our consumption of our content today from the Wenatchee World is through digital channels, hands down. It's a lot harder to make money in a digital environment. So as we look at the Wenatchee Valley and what it means to WIC Communications and how we can best serve it, we see very much a future where it's not necessarily about the medium that we're distributing on. I'm sorry, it's not necessarily about the channel that we're distributing, it's the mediums, and make sure that they all come together. So whether it's text, video, audio, and the work that you all do here at NCW Life is incredible. You fill a channel that we don't currently serve, right? The approach that the newsroom takes is a little bit different than what the Wenatchee World has, and there are a lot of complementary efforts that should be assumed in that aspect. And then as we look at it, we think that one of the growth segments, the data shows, it's not we think, the data shows that one of the growth segments for consumption of news and local advertising is video. And so the capabilities that NCW Life brings the Wenatchee Valley and the Wenatchee World make complete sense on where we want to ultimately build an organization to better serve the Valley in the future.
Well, the boundaries of the 12th District have been redrawn, and that means the Senate seat is an open seat. Brad Hawkins decided not to run for re-election, and so it's a Democrat against a Republican. We don't see that too often around here. State Representative Keith Gaynor of Dryden will be facing off against Democrat Jim Mayhew. The full interview, by the way, is available for you to watch on our website, but here's a quick excerpt of that interview.
One of the things you brought up is the supermajority requirement for certain votes, and there is such a requirement on school districts when they want to pass their bonds, which pay for very important infrastructure and construction. This year, the Eastmont School District, just outside of your district, tried twice to pass $117 million in bond improvements, and the voter approval topped out both times, right around 59%. They really need this new construction. So, Jim, do you think the supermajority threshold for school districts should be removed so that they have a clearer path to win those needed funds?
I absolutely do. Now, there was a proposal by a Republican in the legislature last session to drop it down to 55%. If we could have found a way to coalesce around 55%, I would have been in favor of that. 60% is too high. Fundamentally, I don't understand why in a democracy, if a majority of us want to do something, if we want to tax ourselves to make our local schools better, then we ought to be able to do that. We talk a lot about where's the control sit. I'm in favor of local control. Our cities, our school districts know best how to meet the needs of our communities. So requiring us to hit a 60% threshold isn't really letting us control things locally. So I absolutely like to see that. And here's the thing. The districts that can't pass at 60%, and by the way, don't just focus on Eastmont. Wenatchee School District couldn't pass their last one. They didn't even try again. Same with Chelan. So this is a bigger problem than just Eastmont. By the way, in Eastmont, they're trying to refurbish 3 elementary schools, the most recent of which was refurbished 35 years ago. So you can't tell me that our kids in those schools, nothing against the teachers, we've got great teachers, but you can't tell me that our kids are getting the same education as kids over in school districts with brand new schools.
At this point, I feel like the 60%, has been there for, quite some time, and it does. We've had a number of levy failures throughout, the course of time. I served, in a district where my service was on the Cascade Education Foundation, which was formed because the levy did not pass. We as parents, we got involved. We started, increasing the funding, we did get people to contribute to the schools because of the very thing that there were, a vast number of people that were committed to good education. So I think that the 60%, particularly when you consider who's paying the tax, those are property taxes. It's also something that the state holds itself to at that same standard. We have to have that 60% to pass budgets. The idea is that we're trying to reach a plan, or in the case of the facilities, you're trying to find the facilities that best suit the district itself. Unfortunately, we do have some districts that they have some real demands from an enrollment standpoint, but they don't have the tax base to support it. When you think about what will be happening here in Wenatchee with the new data centers and all of the additional tax revenue, that will be great for the Wenatchee School District. You see what's happened in Quincy, the type of facilities that come as a result of an increased tax base. But when people are already being challenged to make ends meet and to put food on the table and to clothe their kids and keep the roof over their head, I think it's really important that we make sure that the plan matches the ability of the community to pay for it.
And again, that complete interview can be seen by visiting our website, ncwlife.com, and that is the news on this Monday. We'll have a newscast for you tonight. It may be Columbus Day, but we're going to work. The news at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight, 5, 6, and 10 on TV. It'll be up and running via the World Wide Web on our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. It's not too hard to find our news. We try to make it as easy for you to get a hold of as possible. And if something out there warrants our attention, you think it's newsworthy, you send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Sports in October is always busy. Today, no exception. In 2 minutes, we'll give you the latest. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
Another fall sports season is upon us. Yes, we'll be talking about Eastmont football, but also volleyball and girls soccer. Be sure and join us for the Eastmont Wildcats all season long right here on the NCW Life Channel, your local TV station.
Coverage is presented by Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, Kennedy Real Estate Group, Les Schwab, Sangster Motors, Save Mart, Together for Youth, and Valley Tractor. Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from Les.
My name's Nick Dirk, and I've been a cinematographer-photographer for over 10 years. I got my start at the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Without the Tech Center, I wouldn't have got my first job in media production 3 months after I graduated high school.
My name is Charlie Voris, and I own Vortex Productions. My work has taken me on exciting adventures all around the world, and I got my start at Wenatchee Valley Tech.
Hey, my name is Ole Mingo, and I'm the Executive Director at Heirloom Creatives in Wenatchee. I am so thankful for Wenatchee Valley Tech to be able to have my dream career.
19 minutes after the hour in sports, not much of a baseball game. Game 1 of the National League Championship Series between the Dodgers and the Mets. And Dodger pitchers continue to dominate. 9-0 the final. Dodger pitchers have combined for 33 consecutive scoreless innings. That ties a Major League record. Dodgers lead that series 1-0. 2 baseball games today. Of course, we're down to the last 4. The League Championship Series schedule looks like this. National League Championship Series Game 2 between the Mets and the Dodgers, 1:05 today on both Fox and FS1. And then they'll get going at Yankee Stadium. The American League Championship Series, the Guardians and the Yankees, 4:35 first pitch on TBS. College football over the weekend, Iowa just smoked Washington 40-16. A late interception return for a touchdown was the difference for the Cougars. They beat Fresno State down in California Eastern. No problems with Sacramento State. Well, kind of. It was a close game. Big upset. University of Texas Permian Basin beating Central Washington University. No one saw that one coming. 14-13. Closer to home, Eastmont won its homecoming game Friday against Eisenhower. The final was 33-14. Austin Zielinski followed up his 2-touchdown performance a week ago against Wenatchee with 2 touchdowns on his first 2 carries. The Wildcats never trailed. Eric Greinstrom and Grant Olson had the call right here on the NCW Live channel.
Back about 4 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. Here's a little misdirection. Austin Zielinski has room to the 40, to the 45, and he is going to be gone. Austin Zielinski will take it for the touchdown here for the Eastmont Wildcats from 73 yards.
Holy man. We mentioned it in the pregame. This is a budding star in the Big 9, and he's made it known here early in this game. What a run and what speed.
Austin Zielinski came in with just a couple of touchdowns on the season, and those were last week against Wenatchee. Now he rips off a long one here for the touchdown from 73 yards out, and now the extra point to make it a 7-0 ball game. Spurrier maybe changing the play here as he goes up to the line of scrimmage. Gets back in the shotgun, high snap, and the ball went over his head, and he's going to have to take it for a safety.
And
I thought at first he was faking the fact that it was a high snap, but no, in fact, it did go over his head. So here we go, Austin and Peyton Zielinski. Austin goes in motion. They'll hand it to him. Running around the left side. He's got the 40. He's got the 30. He's got the 20. He cuts back at the 10, and how about it?
Oh, my gosh.
2 carries, 2 touchdowns, 4 of the season. Austin Zielinski, the freshman, making it happen.
43 yards on that. Now 2 carries, 106 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter for Austin Zielinski.
They don't get the first down, so they go for a field goal to Eastmont, and right there through the uprights is the kick from 21 yards out.
This year, Eastmont 2024 homecoming team between are Keith Isaac and Quinn.
Fourth down, about 5 yards to go. They can get a first down at the 1. Snap back to Spurrier. Looks right. Now he's going to be smothered in the backfield on a tackle for a loss on the play. And there he is again, Tyson Gonzalez. Zielinski backs up, sends Cortez in motion. He'll hand it to him around the right side. Cortez has the 10, has the 5, has the end zone. Touchdown, Eastmont. Julian Cortez from 18 yards out.
Once again, very patient on that run. He let his blockers get out in front of him and then turned the speed on around the corner.
So 3rd down, long 10 here coming up for the Wildcats. They'll do a little cross direction.
Beautiful
and into
play.
The end zone for the touchdown.
What a call.
With the carry that time. Who was it?
It was Cortez.
Julian Cortez with the carry and the touchdown. Boy, that had Eisenhower fooled big time.
And that had to be perfect. Great job by Peyton Zielinski, the quarterback, too. He's got to do a kind of a pirouette out there just to get that handoff done.
To the near side, I should say. Back to pass Spurrier again. Looks, throws for the end zone. Got a receiver. He catches it, and it's a touchdown, and there goes the shutout. And with the catch on the touchdown is Tyquarius Brown.
Tyquarius Brown with the reception for
28 yards on the pass play. He'll get the pass from center. Drop back to pass. Looking right. And then throwing deep.
What a throw.
Wow.
80 yards.
Touchdown for, guess who? Again, he's been thrown to twice, and he's got 2 touchdowns. Tyquarius Brown. And so a gain of about 15 yards there for Castillo. And they'll wind the clock, and that will be the end of it. And it will be Eastmont with the win on homecoming night tonight here at Eastmont Wildcat Stadium. 33-14 is the final.
We'll talk about this game for you guys. It wasn't the prettiest, but you got the win, which is important for homecoming, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. Our running backs, we struggled a little bit in the beginning and stuff with the blocks, but after a while, we got the hang of it, how they were playing in defense and stuff like that.
It's always kind of, you got to see what kind of punches they're throwing before you can adjust to those punches, right?
Yeah, we got to know, like, every game's it's a fight, you know, they come in strong and everything. We can't be like, oh, it's Eisenhower, you know?
Right.
So.
There was some extracurricular tonight. They got more flags than you guys did for that kind of stuff. How do you stay out of the emotion part of that and not get involved in that kind of stuff?
Just keeping our mouths shut and just, you know, just having each other's backs and just not talking as much and let the refs do what they got to do.
Hard not to look ahead when this is the game of the season coming up next week at Moses Lake.
Yeah, we all know it. Everybody knows it. I mean, this is what it comes down, seems to, every year for the last God knows how many years, you know. And, you know, we talked about, all week long, we've been talking about Alabama, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
You know, is don't get caught looking ahead.
Yeah.
And so, you know, especially after an emotional game like last week was with Wenatchee. And so the theme all week was, let's not get caught up in homecoming. Let's not get caught up in looking beyond to Moses. Let's take care of business here first and then work from there.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one on Friday night. Wildcats undefeated in league. Moses Lake undefeated in league. They will play next Friday at Lions Field. Moses Lake easily rolled over Post Falls, and of course, as you see there, Sunnyside and West Valley winners. Wenatchee had an early lead. They couldn't hold on. CWAC football from over the weekend. Your winners, Ellensburg, East Valley, Sela, and Royal. And Othello knocked off Ephrata on Saturday. The final there was 35-13. In SCAC football, Cashmere rolled over Zilla 35-6. You see the rest of the winners there. Caribou Trail League, pretty quiet. It was homecoming for Chelan. They crushed their Up Lake rivals. Manson, it was Liberty Bell over Omak, and Brewster over Cascade. In Central Washington 2B football on Friday, there's the Chelan score again. Liberty Bell, Brewster, and all over Bridgeport. Okanagan knocked off Tenasket. And in 1B football from CWB, LaConner beat Waterville Mansfield 22-14. I think the two fell off the slide. Prep soccer scoreboard from over the weekend. Wenatchee remains undefeated in Big 9 play. They just snuck by Davis. Eastmont over Ike. Moses Lake over Sunnyside. In CWAC prep soccer over the weekend, the winners, Othello, Prosser, and Sela. More prep soccer from various schools. Cashmere crushed Wapato. Same deal with Cascade over Bridgeport. Those are scores you normally don't see in girls soccer. Chelan beat Manson, Napavine over Tenasket. Prep volleyball. Eastmont swept Central Valley in a non-leaguer. Ellensburg took care of Davis in a non-leaguer. Sultan in a non-leaguer over Cascade. Wenatchee Wild split over the weekend. They won on Friday in a shootout over Victoria 4-3, but on Saturday, Victoria doubled up the Wenatchee Wild 6-3. The Wenatchee Wild are back home this Friday to take on Kelowna. Same deal with the Kraken. They split over the weekend. On Saturday, they beat Minnesota in a shootout. The final was 5-4, and then yesterday, the Stars got the better part of the Kraken. The final there was 2-0. Kraken will be in Nashville tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. On this 14th day of October, it's National Be Bald and Be Free Day for all of you people who are follically challenged. More than 50% of all women will experience balding at some point in their lives. By the time most men are 50, 85% of all men will show some signs of hair loss. The average person loses between 50 to 100 hairs every day. About 25% of men who begin to lose their hair by the time they're 21. Yikes. The number one factor for baldness is genetics, and people, well, it's been estimated that over $1 billion a year is spent just in this country on toupees, lotions, and follicle transplants for people who don't want to be bald but have no choice. Be Bald and Be Free Day today. It's 29 minutes after the hour. Today in history, he was the former president of the United States. He wanted the job again. He was running on the progressive ticket. Speaking in Milwaukee while running for president, Theodore Roosevelt is shot and mildly wounded by John Schrank. The wound was still in his chest. The bullet within it, it just barely pierced his skin, but it was bad enough. Roosevelt delivers a scheduled speech, and then he went to the hospital. As you might imagine, that happened in Milwaukee on this date 112 years ago today. 98 years ago today, October 14th, 1926. Happy birthday, Winnie the Pooh. The children's book Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne is first published, and you know what? It's 98 years old and it's still good. This is the 62nd anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis. It began on this date on October 14th, 1962. American reconnaissance aircraft takes photographs of Soviet ballistic missiles being installed in Cuba, and the world would hold their breath over the next week. I'm going to show you the video of this because it's one of the great days in my life. Bottom of the ninth, Royals 6, Yankees 6. Game 5, the deciding Game 5 of the 1976 American League Championship Series. Chris Chambliss steps to the plate, and here's what happened.
Art Littell delivers high drive, hits it right center field. That's gone. It is gone.
Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees. A thrilling, dramatic game with overtones of that great sixth game in the World Series a year ago, and then the seventh game too. What a way for the American League season to end. A spunky young Kansas City team. Look at them mob Chris Chambliss. What a season he has had. What a series he has had.
Just another Saturday night in the Bronx. It was the Yankees' first pennant since 1964. Don't have time to show you the video, but I do want to remind you that this is the 21st anniversary of the famous Bartman incident, only needing 5 outs to make it to the World Series. The Cubs give up 8 runs on 5 hits, and it all started falling apart when a foul ball is touched by fan Steve Bartman, who wasn't really his fault. It was Alex Gonzalez's fault. He booted an easy double play ball a couple of pitches later. Anyway, the Bartman incident on this date in 2003. 2 heavenly birthdays. We always do presidents. Dwight David Eisenhower, the 34th president of the United States, born in this state in 1890, was 65th in his class of 165 at West Point. He wanted to go to college. His family couldn't afford it. He originally applied for the Naval Academy, but the United States Military Academy took him in. Eisenhower smoked 3 or 4 packs of cigarettes a day. He picked up the habit when he was a plebe at West Point. He quit just a couple of years before he became president. But of course, both parties wanted him to run for president. He was that popular. He had to resign his commission to run for the presidency in 1952. After he left the presidency in 1961, he went back to active duty. Dwight D. Eisenhower, born in the state in 1890, and John Wooden. The John R. Wooden Award is the highest award any collegiate basketball player can get. Happy birthday to, well, John Wooden, but not Dwight D. Eisenhower. That's John Wooden, not Ike. Here we go. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. You saw the forecast, going to get cold. Overnight lows in the mid-30s by the end of this week. Yeah, your heater will be kicked on. Make sure it's ready to go. Have Alpine Air go out and take a look-see. And if there's something wrong, they'll fix it. Mike Magnotti's got an opinion and then a fascinating conversation with Pastor James from the Grace Lutheran Church and one of his parishioners, John McQuaig. I don't want to spoil it for you. You're just going to want to watch. It's coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel.
Hey there, folks. Blueberry Carrie here to invite you on out to experience Blueberry Hills. Of course, the food is fabulous, like our cheese splints, our famous French dip, our legendary Eggs Benedict, and unforgettable burgers. But we're more than just great food. People come from all over the world to experience what's been called one of the best destination restaurants in the Pacific Northwest. So come on out and see what all the fuss is about. Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
Soul purpose planning, soul being spelled S-O-U-L, your insides, as opposed to S-O-L-E, a one topic deal. You get that's the bread and butter of you, isn't it? Soul purpose planning, the inside of you.
Right, and I think, soul purpose planning is like planning by itself. It's really about a deeper connection with like you understanding like your soul purpose in life. Like, what is that? It might not have anything to do with money at all. If it doesn't have anything to do with money, it's totally fine. But how does money affect it? How could money enhance it? And those are things that when we go through soul purpose planning, or we graduate it to prosperity planning, like we want to really understand, right, with our clients. So I think like knowing your life and knowing what you want out of your life and accomplishing the things that you want out of your life and actually doing those things, putting action into those things that you want to do. So many people say that they want to do this, they want to do that, but they never do it, right? So you can go to, are you a dreamer or do you complete your dreams, right? The action backs it up, right? I've been to so many conferences over the years where you listen to somebody and you're listening to a thought leader. How many times have we heard, I'm listening to a thought leader? I don't need to hear any more thought leaders. I don't need any more, ideas. I need a result leader. I need somebody who's gonna like show me results, right? And that's where we get with like the soul purpose planning is once we get down to that soul purpose, like how can we show people results so that they can really understand that life soul purpose? Because that's where they're gonna have the most meaning in life.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNulty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, a political personality, a man suspected of planning on running for president, is selling Bibles. Okay, all right, look, I'm a fan of the Bible. I read some of it almost every day, and I do try, with limited success, I admit, to follow Jesus' teachings. But are we really expected to believe that this politician cum Bible salesman's motive is anything less than pandering to curry the favor of evangelicals? I mean, come on, gosh. Look, vote for the guy if you want to. But believing the shameless move with Bible sales is anything more than a brazen attempt to manipulate people is ridiculous. This is Mike Mad Dog McNulty, and that's my opinion.
Lifeline Ambulance has partnered with Wenatchee Valley Tech to provide EMT certification training within the high school. This opens up career opportunities in EMS, fire, and other medical fields, and gives these students a leg up when entering the workforce.
Students at Wenatchee Valley Tech, through our partnership with Lifeline Ambulance, can now earn their National Registry EMT certification.
There's no place like home. Because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories. And we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Hello, 3 tickets, please.
Oh, the Discovery Center is free to visit.
So you're telling me we could look at the fish for free?
Yep, that's free.
But how much is it to drive the speedboat?
Todo es gratis.
So you're telling me that we could go play on the playground?
Still free.
It's free.
Exactly. Gratis, gratis, gratis. The Discovery Center at Rocky Beach. It's free.
Welcome to the Gilded Lily home, where something extraordinary is waiting. Fall has arrived at the Gilded Lily. Luscious colors of rust, orange, and gold lead you throughout the entire store. Gourmet foods to delight your guests. Stylish linens, handcrafted jewelry. The Gilded Lily home, where you can step in for inspiration and leave with beautiful items for your home, your kitchen, your lifestyle.
Welcome back to the program. Whenever John McQuaig gets a hold of me and says, Dan, I'd like to do the show, I always say, you bet, John. We'll figure out the topic later on. And when John reached out to me about a week ago, he said, at my church, the Grace Lutheran Church here in Wenatchee, there's a very important programming coming up at the weekend of the 19th and 20th of this month. And he sent me the information, and I said, I'm in. It's a serious conversation. It's going to be an educational conversation. Hopefully, it touches you where you need to be touched. John McQuaig, introduce Pastor James to our TV family, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Pastor James from Grace Lutheran Church, and he's been our pastor for what, 12 years? 12 years, I guessed right, yeah. So he's been here for a long time, and we're a member of the ELCA, Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and we're on Washington Street, and I've been here for, well, since about the early 60s.
As long as anybody can remember.
Yeah, that's right. I guess you were in elementary school when did you say you came over? And
we used to come over after Washington Elementary School got out, and the office manager here, the little side door, which you always had candy in her desk.
So there's a history that goes way back, right? Yeah.
Let's talk about this weekend. Let's talk about Dietrich first of all. You brought the book with you. Just a brief sketch of Mr. Bonhoeffer and how his importance, not only to your church, but what he did and what he sacrificed in the 30s and 40s, facing up against Hitler, which eventually, of course, cost him his life. Give us a brief background, John and Pastor James, if you want, on...
How much time do you have? That's a big question.
It is a big question, but it's an important question.
Yeah. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was an amazing person, and I would say a genius, and dedicated to his faith and dedicated to the church. Very serious individual, and so he was young during the time as the Nazis started to develop, and he was in seminary, and ultimately graduated from seminary and started teaching actually in the seminary, and he was one of the best known theologians in Germany. His father actually was a psychiatrist who was the best known psychiatrist in Germany. So it's really interesting, kind of family dynamic and background. And his family is sort of interesting. His the whole family dynamic was interesting. So he, at the time as the Nazis rose, he helped start the Confessing Church, which was the opposition church, because the Lutheran Church was taken over by the Nazis and by the German government. And so they controlled basically what was preached and so forth. So,
and the Lutheran Church was already fairly dominant even before Hitler's.
Yeah, it's always been dominant in Germany, still is today. And so they had a situation where they had this Confessing Church that was sort of the alternative to that. And Dietrich actually had a call to be in a seminary position at Union Theological Seminary in New York, and he went there. He took a steamship there, or however he got there, and he arrived, and he just could not stand what was going on in Germany, and he knew it would probably cost him his life, but he went home. And so, he only stayed there like 2 weeks. He just traveled nuts. He couldn't even sleep. And so he ultimately went back to Germany and taught at he had a kind of a Confessing Church theological seminary called Finkelwald that he taught at, and he had a group of students he was working with there. He traveled all over. He was in England. He was acting, in this book by Metaxas, he calls Bonhoeffer pastor, martyr, prophet, spy. So he was doing.
And he was all those things.
He was all those things. Yeah.
And if you're all of those things, it's not going to take you very long, Pastor James, to land on Adolf Hitler's radar if you're doing these kinds of things.
Yes, part of Bonhoeffer's decision making had to do with conscience. So when he was in the United States for that brief time, his conscience was really eating at him, and in particular, the safety of his own community. He had a twin sister, and there was a very close bond there. But yeah, he really struggled with the domination of culture, and certainly once the extermination, what did they call this? The final solution, right, to the Jewish question. he was so disturbed by that he needed to find ways to address it in such a way that he can help to perhaps change the attitudes and opinions of German citizens. And in fact, he was doing a radio address where he was teaching quite a lot related to this. And midway through his radio address, the feed actually was cut by the German government. And in fact, the seminary can be described as an underground seminary because they needed to educate themselves in a secretive way to try to avoid detection by the Nazis.
They got away with it for a little while, but you're not going to get away with that forever. Yeah. And that was his ultimate fate.
He was ultimately arrested for his involvement in a bomb plot to assassinate Hitler. Yeah.
That was in the spring of '44. He went to prison, went to camp, and still never stopped, even though he was incarcerated in the most ridiculous and terrible of conditions. It didn't deter him, did it, John?
No, and he continued to write too.
Yes.
He was a very prolific writer, and he's written some amazing books. So he continued to write. He continued his activities as he could, even though he was starving and in terrible conditions. So yeah, he kept the faith all the way through.
Is part of this story, and I'll ask you this, Pastor James, is the fact that he almost escaped, because it was just the very tail end, just a couple of weeks before the war ended, when he was finally executed, when he was hung.
Yeah.
Just in April of '45, and it was almost all but over. Is that part of it?
He was hanged as a dissident, I suppose we could say. And I think that at that particular point, the Nazis saw the writing on the wall, and so they tried to finish business in many ways. And so that led to Bonhoeffer's death. And then certainly Buchenwald, I think, was the camp that he was incarcerated at. It was liberated by the Allied forces only a few weeks after his own death. Yeah.
It is an entire weekend of lectures, workshops, and a special sermon by a visiting theologian. Dr. Brocker will be here on Sunday the 20th for a special sermon. Let's do this chronologically. Let's talk about the workshop first of all. It's entitled "With Courage and Humility, Bonhoeffer's Ethical Approach for Us Today." The message still rings true today after all these many years.
For sure.
Pastor James?
Yeah, Dr. Brocker wants to bring some of the perspectives, or we could even say principles, that Bonhoeffer was using in his writings, and help a community at the Saturday morning workshop to apply or to struggle together, really, about how do we look at perhaps some current issues or contemporary problems from those lenses. And so he'll provide a lot of historical background, but also his goal is to help these words come alive, or to remain alive, as we consider what does a faithful response to the world look like in our context.
And there are some parallels between contemporary, where we are today, and where he was 80 some odd years ago. And that brings us to the lecture on Saturday from 7 to 8 o'clock, the political responsibility of the church. We talked about this before the cameras rolled. Every church, regardless of your faith or your denomination, plays some role in contemporary politics, and this will address this on Saturday night, John.
Yeah, and obviously your faith informs your politics as well. Absolutely. Your beliefs, and so it's a combination, right? And so how does the church itself engage in that? In what fashion and how far and so forth? And there's the lines kind of go from very involved to kind of hardly ever mentioned. And so, it's just interesting to be able to talk about, where does the church stand in that, and how does my faith inform how I respond when I vote, and in political persuasion as well, So yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to talk about. Very, very contemporary topic. Obviously, we're just days from from our election. Some people are already voting.
Pastor James, I have a feeling you want to chime in on this.
Well, as John was sharing, I was thinking that going all the way back in our Lutheran way of approaching the Christian faith, we do often talk about the fact that, in a sense, we are citizens of more than one realm. So we're citizens of the United States, but we're also citizens who are claimed through Christ. And so what are some of those pinch points or intersections? Where are some of the struggles that we might encounter as we acknowledge both of those roles? We can find people who are absolute pacifists or anti-war. We can find folks who will really see the country as being a manifestation of God's will. So it's up to everybody, and also faith communities, to examine their own consciences and to really stay connected to the world and look for ways to improve the well-being of really everyone.
If you turn your back on what's going on and put your head in the sand, you're not doing anybody any good, especially yourself.
Yeah, we have this tendency to just pull away and isolate. And when we think about the example of Christ's life, there was none of that, really. He really involved his love and his healing ministry, his teachings with everybody around. And so we're looking for ways to follow that example and really be involved in the well-being of the neighbor.
All of these events, by the way, we're talking about the workshop on Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, the lecture on Saturday night, which I think is incredibly important, only an hour commitment there, and you're going to get a lot out of it. And then your traditional sermon on 10:30 on Sunday morning on the 20th. You're going to step aside and let Dr. Brocker handle that. Talk about that.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, so he picked a couple of texts, one from the book of Jonah, one from the Gospel of John 3:16 and following. And I'm excited to learn more from Dr. Brocker. I'm definitely a novice in terms of Bonhoeffer material, and I'm really looking forward to what he has to share.
And again, all of this is welcome. And this is the Grace Lutheran Church. Anybody can come for any services that they think they want to come to, or just out of pure curiosity. You're the one who pointed me in this direction, John. What are you looking to get out of this weekend? Do you just to learn, just to be more educated? Yeah,
to be more educated, get a deeper understanding of Bonhoeffer and his writings and his preaching. Basically his works included obviously his preaching, all of his teaching that he did. A lot of seminars, that sort of thing. And then his writings. So there's a whole body of things that you can draw from. It's amazing for a man who died at 38, how much he did. Obviously, he was, like I said, he was brilliant. So what I'm hoping to do is get a deeper understanding. I've read some of his books. I've read a couple biographies on him, and just get a deeper understanding and have a conversation about that too. So how does that apply today to me and to my life and our community?
Everybody is welcome to all three. There's no charge for anything. And Pastor James, you wanted to close with something. I want to go ahead and let you do that right now.
So when I was back in college, I read Bonhoeffer's Discipleship. Also, it's entitled The Cost of Discipleship. And some folks might know the term cheap grace. That's one of the terms that Bonhoeffer lifted up in that book as saying, boy, as we engage in the world around us, let's not approach it in terms of cheap grace. So one of the more well-known quotes from his book, I'd like to read that now. Please. The first Christ suffering that everyone has to experience is the call which summons us away from our attachments to this world. It is the death of the old self in the encounter with Jesus Christ. Those who enter into discipleship enter into Jesus' death. They turn their living into dying. Such has been the case from the very beginning. The cross is not the terrible end of a pious, happy life. Instead, it stands at the beginning of community with Jesus Christ. And then here's the most famous part of this quote: whenever Christ calls us, his call leads us to death. And so there's a seriousness to that, and a recommitment to the well-being of the world around us. and in some sense also a setting aside of our own selves for the sake of what God is up to in the world.
John, you're right. Pastor James is good.
I told you that. Yeah, I'm glad you got him on tape. That's great. Yeah, you can feel that commitment, can't you?
I can.
Yeah.
It kind of seeps through there. The setting helps a lot, by the way. I got to tell you that. Again, it's the weekend of October 19th and 20th on the Grace Lutheran Church website. Just Google Grace Lutheran Church Wenatchee. Pops right up. All the information, a good background on Dietrich Bonhoeffer. You can read a little bit about him. You can read about Dr. Brocker, who's going to be giving the main sermon on Sunday at 10:30. Thanks for putting some time out for letting us come down and talk about this.
Well, thank you so much for putting us on. We certainly, this is open to everyone. This is a gift to the community to have Dr. Brocker here and to talk about Bonhoeffer and how we can apply him today. So we're excited to welcome anyone that wants to come.
Yeah.
It's a rare opportunity. I'll let you have the final word.
Yeah,
We're in your building.
Some might remember the Albertson lectures that were hosted at First United Methodist for many years. So our weekend is really fashioned around some of that concept where we bring in a scholar. In fact, Dr. Brocker has been in leadership in the International Society of Bonhoeffer Scholars. And the invitation is wide open, and we hope that we can see a lot of folks from our community.
It's a rare opportunity. Take advantage of it, people. The 19th and the 20th. Again, everything is on the church's website, everything you need to know. And we will be right back.
Bob's Classic Restaurant and Distillery, established in 1987, where we concentrate on what we do best, creating excellent food, exciting drinks, great customer service, and an imaginative atmosphere to craft an excellent dining experience for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Shareable or not, that's up to you. Bob's Classic dishes are handcrafted and full of flavor. Enjoy the experience at Bob's Classic with your family and friends today.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Here's your coffee. That'll be $5.
Thanks.
Oh, it's only $5.
Oh, I like paying double.
Why?
I've always paid more.
You wouldn't pay double for coffee. So don't pay double on your heating bill. Cut your heating bills by up to half when you switch to a heat pump or ductless mini split and get cash back from Chelan PUD plus federal tax credits. Learn more at chelanpud.org/save.
When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works shared membership model. One membership, friends and family and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
Well, the smoke and the haze is rather palatable from the Squilchuck fire, but it's also quite humid. 71% relative humidity. Firefighters who do wildfires like that, what they really like is rain. And guess what? Come Thursday night or Tuesday night into Wednesday, we do have rain in the forecast. Thank goodness. Big trough of low pressure is heading our way once we get through today and most of tomorrow. From the National Weather Service, one more look at your forecast. Into the 70s today, just like we were on Saturday and Sunday, with quite a bit of sunshine outside of the smoke. A couple of clouds tonight, 54 for the overnight low. Most of the day Tuesday, going to be kind of like today until we get mid-afternoon, and then here comes this trough of low pressure. It's going to give us a little bit of rain on Tuesday and Tuesday night, and a chance of rain on Wednesday, and a chance of rain Wednesday night, and a chance of rain on Thursday, and a chance of rain on Friday. Not much, but a chance of rain. Much cooler temperatures. We want all of those things, and it's coming our way. So I got to make sure my furnace works. Have yourself a good Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.